Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. So, a little quiet day for a Monday, but I guess everyone's a little, hungover maybe from watching the Super Bowl. Did go late, so if you stayed up to the end, you were on your seat, and you might even watched the after-party festivities. So, with that said, not the end of the world. Considering on Friday the Dow was up like 190 points, S&P was up, 18, 19 handles, and today we're mixed to flat. Okay, so can't have every day as a blockbuster, but at this point I feel like we're somewhat constructive. Look here at the chart of the S&P cash. You know me, I like to draw my little lines here. This was your pre-election sell-off, you bounce back, and then this is when the Donald was voted in. Meanwhile, he called the winner of the Super Bowl by 2 points. I'm just kidding. Anyway, here's the uptrend since breaking this descending channel here. It definitely looked a little scary last week. We were testing the 21-day moving average, testing the accelerated trend line, and we held. So now you go sideways, and where are we now? Where are we now? That is the question, right? How do we make money this week? Well, I guess today, a little bit of a test for the bulls. Why was it a little test? Because, little inside day. Last time we had 2 inside days, we had that little bull trap. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. A little false sense of security. But all in all, some things to like. So if you're still involved in the spiders, I'm still in small. Maybe another inside day or so. And then at some point, it gets going again to the upside. Okay? A lot of things happen overnight. So if you take overnight risk, then you have to be long and be worried about something to the downside, whether it's a tweet, whether it's, some saber rattling. At this point, though, things are kind of hanging in pretty well. If you want to look on the negative side, I think the IWM has been choppy and gave back probably a little bit more than some would have liked. I did not take the IWMs home. I'm going to wait another day. Still hung in there, considering where it came from. It just wasn't strong enough to break out. If you're still in it, and you're in it versus this spot or in it, I just used yesterday's low. It got below it, stayed below it. So for right around it, for me, I'm just going to wait. The IWM recently has my number, so I don't need to be involved there. The FAS did give you a move to the upside and then just wasn't strong enough to hold. It still looks fine. It's above the moving averages, just not enough strength. There's still some talk about how he's going to repeal Dodd-Frank and whether rates are going to go higher, et cetera, et cetera. At least if you were in overnight, you had a way out to the upside. What do I mean by that? Just say you went home long Goldman Sachs, which was very strong on what's it called? I hate the look of this topping tail. On Friday. Perhaps in the first half an hour, you added to it and went green and pushed. So they gave you a way out. If you're in the right stocks, you typically get a way out. Why was this the right stock? Gap up, pushed up, talked in the morning call about this being some support. This 239-ish came in. You could have been buying versus Friday afternoon support, or just sat, and then it wound up going green, pushed up, and then I would say it had a nice little symmetrical triangle, and right there, if you hadn't, if you put on an extra tier and didn't sell into strength, maybe here you got out of it and you're still back to what you had from Friday. I talked about buying in the hole and and then getting back to what you had overnight. For me, I have Bank of America. I did buy in the hole. Wasn't a huge hole, okay, but for Bank of America, it has a lot of liquidity. Bought some down here, sold some when it went green, and now I'm back with a tiny bit more actually than I had coming into today. I think it's still fine. It doesn't move that much. I think it'll be somewhat decent to hold, and it's not a barn burner. It's not one of the ones that I really focus on. I just feel like I need some bank exposure to be social with everyone else out there. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Still, just not ready for prime time. Hopefully it holds this, or maybe it does a little red dog reversal here tomorrow, so it stays in that constructive looking spot. All right, so that's the banks. I'm just in Bank of America, and tomorrow, if we do get a little bit of a gap down, maybe I'll look at some others. In tech, Tesla, very impressive. Look at that. Woo! I was not thinking that was going to happen today. I'm not in Tesla. I was going to buy it on the close, but I just didn't. I probably should. The good book says be long Tesla because why? It's been trending well. On a weekday, it closed, on highs, on no news. Here's when it cleared the descending trend line. Lots of bull flags along the way, and here's just another bigger one. Okay, if it's down a little bit actually after this recap, maybe I'll buy a little bit. But all in all, looks like there could be another squeeze here, into this spot. If you're long it from the Redler all access report for 2017. You know, you got involved over here and you're just letting it go. It's almost at the target. Same way, I think some of you guys hit this out today because EMES, which I put on my report as a small speculative fracker, okay, wound up going to where I thought it was at 20. Some of you might continue to hold it, but from 13, or actually a little less than that, to 20, that's a huge percentage gain. One winner from the 2017 report could pay for most other things. Some guys take a small percentage of their portfolio each year and put it into all 14 plays. Some wait for it to trigger. This triggered and held and it's been above the 8-day. I think I'd rather you play each situation with active trading rules, but some of you guys don't actively trade. You just want stocks that could work out for you, and this one already worked out, and it's only February 6th. It met all objectives. All right, let's get back to tech. Let's talk Netflix. Netflix, I didn't come in long, and I left long. Why did I leave long? Because very sneaky, I think. It came back up while everyone was like starting to forget about Netflix because it's been sleepy, but came up, reversed, closed on the highs of the day. Still looks tight, still looks like something that could make a move above the post-earnings high, so I am long Netflix. Apple, I came in long today, and I'm still long. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Apple held that earnings high, okay, or earnings gap, so acted well. Got involved, back involved when it cleared this. Or actually, no, I got involved, was it Thursday or Fridays? Thursday or Friday it was in it. Today I added a little bit here, took some off, but I'm still in, probably in more overnight than I had here. Hopefully there's no surprise, but all in all, technically acting well. If it gets above this, anyone who shorted into this probably has to make a decision tomorrow if it can get above and stay above this 130.49. So this is acting well, and another push would be great. Maybe if it opens down a little bit, buy it through, sell some, but ultimately Apple is acting very well. You got to go to the macro chart to see a bigger time frame. If you're in Apple, Apple also was on my 2017 report saying that I think it takes out this high and sees 143, 144. The real trade was here to put it on right around this 118. And if you did so, you're doing quite well, 12 points in the money. Maybe you got involved also in the Redler reversal. I showed you guys in my different reports, okay, that this was the red dog reversal, this was your next buy, and if you held for earnings, congratulations. Some do that all year long, some trade and wait. But anyway, if you traded and waited, you waited for this bar, and then maybe you bought here and then added as it took this out, and that's the next pivot. So we shall see. Another stock that actually didn't do well for us last week that I lost a lot of money in is my Amazon calls. Amazon, gapped down, didn't have enough after coming all the way back to all-time highs, and now it's in the penalty box. What did it do today? Pushed below this 804, came back above it. Some were like, red dog, it did a red dog reversal, get along. I'm like, I'm just going to wait. It did hold this spot. This was support 1. I was thinking that it can get to the 50-day. It still probably can, maybe it doesn't. I don't like to short these things. That's why I'm not shorted. Facebook, I tried shorting in the morning, thinking the same thing, but it also didn't go down and, went below this pivot, came back above it. What does that mean? It means there wasn't enough sellers to keep it below. So at this point, still holding the upper area, still above the 21-day. This was the pivot that failed on earnings. It could probably go again. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I'm not going to sit short that because that's just not my thesis. I like to sit long versus short. And at this point, this report was actually pretty good. It just wasn't in a great environment for a good report. And now we'll see if with a little sideways action, can it go again? BABA was strong all day, came in at the end of the day. I still think it looks okay. I am long some actual BABA. And, I'll give it to 100, and then at some point, maybe it gets going again. Next time it gets above 102, it would be nice if it stays above 102. At this point, it still hangs in there. Baidu, we bought some stock for earnings, options for earnings. Looks pretty good. Okay, why does it look good? Yeah, weak tape, poked its head above this spot. I'd love to, see it stay above this and work its way north of 180. I'm in some, I think, 180 calls for earnings. Why am I in 180 calls for earnings? Because Baidu, which we've traded for a long period of time, has done absolutely nothing for a long time. And I just think that at some point maybe there's enough of a report for it to wake up. It's been going sideways since all of 2016. Almost looks a little bit like Tesla, but it's obviously not Tesla and it's Baidu. But anyway, I'm in it for earnings and we'll see what happens. And if you want to day trade it between now and then, February 23rd is a far way away, so it'd be interesting if it gives us a pre-earnings move. And that's really it. I'm running out of time. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Inside day in the indices. Some things were stronger, some things were weaker, some things to trade, some things to avoid. If you want more, you got to get my note. I have about 25 different strategies in there for different go-to names as well as the indices, and you can see what I'm long. You can see, what I'm focusing on, and hopefully, helps get your game plan for you, as that's what I put in front of me in order to try and be successful. If you try and connect the dots between the Morning Call Express and the recap, that's cool too. We all make our own choices. Hopefully, you had a decent day. We got a long week ahead of us. Stay tuned.